Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Well, it's Tuesday, the 28th day of May 2024. By His grace, we're alive and we're here with yet another edition of this show. Our gratitude to go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Halting CD decline. Bank of Ghana rolls out tough measures. Sets up task force to monitor Forex Bureau. Bawumia Mahama, power of our economy at CEO Summit. Ghana loses $1.9 billion to post-harvest losses annually. World Food Programme. Minority urges President to construct Palugu Dam project. Reverend Father Campbell, 23 others for maiden ELC awards. Work on Minerals Commission office in Kumasi progresses. The Ghanaian Times. We have enough dollars to meet local demand, Bank of Ghana assures. Minerals Commission Ultramodern Ashanti Region Office ready October. Lands Minister inspects progress of work. Building contractors call for law to boost local material use. National Election Response Group to address threats to December general election. Court dismisses food sovereignty challenge to commercialization of GMOs. Daily Guide. Bawumia dares Mahama to debate. Ambulance case. Atu forcing Bex AG to drop case. Ebnage Herbal train staff. Boy 3 killed in Lewin accident. The Insight. Vote for Alan. NPP and DC have failed us. Ex-AGI president tells Ghanaians. Kenyans blast President Ruto for renting $18,000 per hour private jet for U.S. trip. Ojiahuhu Yaojebi, the second, is a custodian and overlord of Adriana Royal's 2 lands in Bibiani, Chiefs of Sefi, and we also caution Ngwa Anyima Kodom. Tens of thousands infected with hepatitis C and HIV in UK blood contamination scandal. On the occasion of Africa Liberation Day celebration, Africa must unite. WAPO rallies working classes against imperialism, neocolonialism, and balkanization. The Daily Statesman. Stop engaging in CD speculation, Bank of Ghana warns. Bawumia annered in Canada. Ashanti Region Minerals Commission office ready by October. GES interdicts 3 officers over free SHS food theft. The New Finder. Fireworks in court at CEO Summit as Bawumia Mahama tackle each other. Moses Badin, CEO of Margins, adjudged overall best CEO. Congratulations. AGI Electrochem Z Multimedia Special Supplement. Ghana eyes $2 billion out of $34.1 billion US dollars global salt market. Daily Post. Mahama reveals many more companies collapsing under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. Nivea, Game, Glovo, Big Pen, Dark and Lovely, leave Ghana. Unilever to relocate its tea production to Nigeria. Reduce exchange rate to 10 cedis to $1 or face our wrath. Federation of Traders to government. This is scandalous. Attorney General must resign. Ansar Asari. Temamoto Way expansion project. Akufo-Addo Bawumia government pays $2.577 million to contractor for no work done. Economy Times. Government records 2.6% deficit for first quarter 2024. Ghana loses $54 billion annually to environmental degradation, EPA. Government expects $2.3 billion to support the CD. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning, I have the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Yape Kusogu constituency. He's also the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, the Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapo. JJ, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Also with me on the show this morning is the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Sisala East constituency, is also a Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, the Honorable Amidu Chinia Isahaku. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
All right, if you're thinking of getting a toothpaste that will take care of the entire family and save you some money, The recommended family toothpaste is KL 360 toothpaste. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. It provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KL 360 toothpaste. KL 360 toothpaste brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint, gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KL 360 toothpaste. KL 360 toothpaste is another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasu. It's available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864798. KL 360 toothpaste, happy smile. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. The pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging irrespective of your age, but worry no more. Lifts and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumon or just call them on 0200 535 or send a mail to elevators at gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movement. Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, let's start off with this. JJ, was it on Friday or Thursday? We saw a video of you. I think I saw Bauer in the video, the Honorable Bauer, and some others. You had gone to the Palugu site, and you took media men. Okay, so that should be it, right?
Yes.
You took them around. Is that Malik? Okay. And the first time I saw it, I thought it was your farm or something. Okay. But there's some farming activity going on when I look at the background. Okay. And this is supposed to be the site of the Palugu Dam. And I guess the story about Palugu really has to do with the disclosure at the Public Accounts Committee about some monies that are supposed to have been paid for no work done, whether really there was work done or not. So I want us to really go through some of the narratives. The Public Accounts Committee, the Vice President himself, in an interview with ABBEY of Asempa, had spoken about Palugu. And then recently, on his campaign tour of the northern regions, I think the regions up north, he also had the opportunity to speak about Palugu as well. And so we'll watch those ones, and then I'll take your views as well as the views of... And I've seen a story that says that the minority is asking government to complete Palugu. I don't know how you expect that to be done. Almost $1 billion project. Minority urges president to construct Palugu Dam project. I don't know how you expect the president to do this in 5 months. But, well... we'll find out about that. So let's watch this videos, and then we'll come back to the panel.
We are here to observe and inspect for ourselves the level of progress in respect of the Palugu multipurpose dam. As you would recall, in 2019, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia were here. They cut the sword for the construction of the Palugu multipurpose dam, estimated at almost $1 billion. The president assured that the project will be completed in 48 months. And so as we speak, by now, the project should have been completed and commissioned. We have received numerous reports indicating that no work is being done. And so we are here to witness for ourselves the state of the construction. We've engaged the paramount chief, we've engaged the community, and we are here ourselves to see for ourselves the status of the work. I can confirm to you that so far, almost $12 million has been paid to the contractor. At today's exchange rate of about 16 cedi, that translates to about 192 million Ghana cedis. And as you can see, nothing, and I mean nothing, is being done yet. This is the taxpayers' money wasted. We visited the site for the constructor, and you can attest, the contractor has packed and left site. Not only has he abandoned the project, the chippings that he brought there, the few blocks that were molded to even construct the site, our information is that those blocks have been sold. The chippings has equally been sold. And so the taxpayers' money has gone down the drain. My checks in Accra indicates that the contractor has even left Ghana. We find this development very, very unfortunate. From all intents and purposes, this was nothing but an election gimmick to hoodwink the people. Right after the elections, nothing has happened. And so this can best be described as a scam. We therefore call on President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who comes from this area, to fulfill their promise. 6 days ago, we heard Dr. Bawumia state that this project is dear to his heart. And I asked myself, what project is he talking about? Because the project site has been turned into a farming area by the local community. And so we call on Dr. Bawumia to at least honor his promise to his own people.
In the northern part of our country where you come from, and Amono, can you beat your chest and say, yeah, this signature project in the north? I
think here the most important project in the north since independence, a Pualugu Dam project.
Okay.
Is the biggest investment. Say we're drawing books no more since independence.
Okay. As I watch it.
Government be by say Pualugu Dam. But we're here as a signature project, and in Ebeda number one. So there's no doubt about that. Pualugu Dam, no, it's a few.
No doubt in my mind that I was championing the Pualugu Dam. We have not yet been able to do it, but by the grace of God, I believe we are going to do the Pualugu Dam. It has to be done. It's a major priority because that can bring 28,000 hectares into cultivation. Ongoing.
I intercepted documents from headquarters.
Yes, sir. Chairman, I'm not happy with the response from the auditors because as part of the audit, they simply don't verify payment regularities. They do in-situ inspection of projects. So yes, you may be at the headquarters, but the regional officers who are closer to the project could have gone to site to ascertain that not merely paying for the project on paper, but the project has actually been delivered. So that's my first follow-up. My second one is the Pualugu irrigation project is different from the Pualugu multi-purpose dam. So I want to find out that this payment is not in respect of the dam, but it's actually the irrigation which serves farmers.
The Russians say they're still looking for him. They don't know him. The Russians themselves cannot find him.
It's the auditors. They saw the documents. Because the governor actually clarified that it's the auditors. I think the auditors are supposed to. Yes. So they should be speaking to the document, the nature of the documents that they saw. Otherwise, the chairman, I seek your leave to demand that the documents based upon which these payments was made should be furnished. We should be furnished a copy of the set of documents for purposes of further interrogation of this matter.
I think the auditors could review it and then give us an update on which one it is. And since it says final payment, they could give the information back to us on what was done. But, Mr. Governor, let's go to page.
Yes, yeah.
A follow-up on the payment on the Palugu issue, because the auditors answered that the contractors asked for payment and they were paid. And I believe before a contractor will be paid, there should be a certificate. I would like to find out from the auditors whether they cited a certificate of work done that warranted the payment of this amount of $11.9 million.
As far as the oversight of the public money.
So the auditors, I just want to find out from the auditors the basis for the payment.
Parliament has been weak in terms of the
Honorable Chair, at this level, we are looking at payment made in foreign currency. But if you want the details, then we have to go back and reconcile as directed by the chairman. Thank you.
Okay, so they will do that. Chairman, for the same thing. Yeah, the auditors are going to review it.
And that's God being good.
Since he's brought this up also, because I know there's a next payment for Temamoto Way and Extension Project. And we know we recently as Parliament approved the facility.
First-hand information, when we go back, that this country has been bigger than this. So we have our support. Thank you.
To the buyer, not a cost. To the American, we go down with the ABBEY airport here. Now, over promises in Bayana, then a year. First, we'll be any so. Oka Hoshama, I assess over Casembaya now here. And one of the kind of for promise party for Muna. But promises in Bayesi. Would you too many year? Napoye can make a be. Ya Hindino, yes, I net here. Ya pre, and a bibia dia kuma. See, dear young coupon by a beer. A bobo also one din, put the babua. But a man of profession, man for say, may see, may ya may see. We are not quite photo. And quite another NK. The Miss say, the Seragana buying one bobo then, na boam, na Miss Mukroni ye, na me here. It's me by me bafufo. When Pesaka say, oh, I like you shall buy no, or some crona perform that be the ever cost one of me here. It's a Miss Ram, NDCO, MPPO, Mumia money. Now, chrono so, and your croquet to a damn, a boat damn dear will be an him say the apostle. And ya the fool, a repa, a boagana. Damn the and see, say a genoa, I'm a nipper bacco. Say the Mr. Ghana for Mumia money, and Mumboam, na a man. And shall na make to me too. Young coupon a to me.
Actually, I've had the ranking member who's here with us in the studio. You've had the Paramount Chief. You also had His Excellency the Vice President. And then you also saw excerpts of what transpired at the Public Accounts Committee. But the chair of the Mines and Energy Committee, the Honorable Samatachi, says to ensure that Parliament investigates why there's been no progress on the dam project since it commenced in November 2019. And for him, demanding answers from the contractor by Parliament would be a good place to start instead of politicizing the issue. Quote, the first point of the engagement is to bring the contractor, maybe with a consultant as well, and then we begin to grill the contractor. Having received $12 million, if there's documentary evidence to that effect, how did you apply it? Why have you abandoned it? Sometimes we color everything as political. But some contractors too can be very funny. They'll receive the money and then probably they'll abandon the project. I'm not saying that's what the contractor has done, but let's probe into what has happened. And the first person you should engage is the contractor, because the allegation is that it is not a politician who's a beneficiary of $1 million, but a contractor. And he made his remarks on Joy FM after the minority raised questions about the funds allocated for the planned construction of this dam. Now, JJ, we have seen you, and we've heard everything. And really, this thing, the sword was cut November of 2019. So how come we've waited for 5 years to realize that nothing has been done?
Well, Randy, thank you. Like you rightly said, the problem of the purpose dam, I recall as Deputy Minister, we secured funding from Agence France Development during our time with technical assistance from the World Bank. We conducted what we call environmental and social impact assessment. And normally when you want to do such a huge project, you have to do a feasibility study and also determine the extent to which that huge project or such a huge project would impact the environment, would impact social life, its economic impact and all that. We successfully conducted the study, then we lost power in the system. So when President Akufo-Addo took over, they decided that with that project or implement it. The project has three main features: the hydro dam, the irrigation component, and the solar component. The project is estimated at $939 million. That's almost $1 billion. Surprisingly, President Akufo-Addo decided to commission the project in November 2019 before coming to Parliament. He went ahead, cut the sword, and at the sword cutting ceremony, he announced that the project will be financed on GOG budgets. Then, when the budget was read in November, there was no amount allocated for the Pualugu Dam in the budget, because if it's a multi-year project, so we're expected to see something. But we picked information that they were going to do it more or less like the Sino Hydro project. They would go and borrow money, pretend as if it is not money borrowed, like Dr. Bawumia did with Sino Hydro, claim that it is backup. But now we all, under the IMF program, have come to realize that it was nothing but a deception. The Sino Hydro agreement is nothing but a loan, and now government has absorbed that as part of the loan. So the dam was to provide 60 megawatts of hydropower, 50 megawatts of solar power, provide irrigation for tomato, sugarcane, rice, amongst others. But it is supposed to ensure that we become a net exporter of tomatoes. And those watching this program would attest. Today, if you go to the market and you buy tomatoes, 4 of them, you would have to pay, I think about 20 Ghana or so for just 4. Rice was supposed to reduce by about 16%. So clearly, the project was a project that all of us supported. But when they came in February, we raised issues with the pricing. We thought that it was inflated. And if you read the handout, myself and Honorable Atufo and the then minority leader Aaron Idrisu spoke extensively about the project cost. Then we spoke about the funding source. That if you wanted to use GOG money, are you sole sourcing Power China?
Okay. Well, I've just been told that we have a little technical difficulty, so we'll back shortly.
There's a delegation from the minority side of the Mines and Energy Committee and some leadership from the National Democratic Congress and a delegation from the chiefs within the area. We are here to observe and inspect for ourselves the level of progress in respect of the Kwalugu multi-purpose dam. As you would recall, in 2019, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and
Yes, sir. Chairman, I'm not happy with the response from the auditors.
In the northern part of our country where you come from, and Amono, can you beat your chest and say, yeah, this signature project in the north?
I think here the most important project here in the north since independence, a Kwalugu Dam project.
Okay.
Is the biggest investment. Say we're drawing books since independence.
Okay. I watch it.
How watch it? Government be by say Kwalugu Dam. But we're here as a signature project, and then a better number one. So there's no doubt.
No doubt in my mind. I was championing the Kwalugu Dam. We have not yet been able to do it, but by the grace of God, I believe we are going to do the Kwalugu Dam. It has to be done. It's a major priority because that can bring 28,000 hectares into cultivation.
Right. Welcome back to the show, and apologies for the technical hitch, which I believe has been resolved, and we'll be able to continue with the program. So I still have with me on the show the Honorable John Abdullah Jinapo and the Honorable Amidu Chinya Isahaku. JJ, sorry, but you'd have to start all over again. Yes.
I will. Thank you. Really, like I told you, we went to Kwalugu as a minority team to inspect for ourselves the state of the dam, because I recall in 2013, then as Deputy Minister, we secured funding from Agence France Développement with technical assistance from the World Bank to conduct what you call an environmental and social impact assessment study. Normally, when you are engaged in such huge projects, it has some environmental impact, it has an impact on the social lives of the people. So that's the first step. We successfully secured funding for that. And then, unfortunately, we lost office. The Kwalugu Dam has three main components: the hydro dam itself, the irrigation component, and the solar component. So the dam is supposed to generate about 60 megawatts of hydro power, 50 megawatts of solar power, and irrigate about 117,000 hectares of land. Basically, it's supposed to help Ghana become a net exporter of tomatoes. Today, if you go to the market, just 4 pieces of tomato sells for about 20 cedi. Rice, very expensive. And the project was supposed to ensure that we reduce rice imports by about 16%. And so it's a project that has been dear to all of us. But unfortunately, President Akufo-Addo cut the short in November 2019, even before coming to Parliament for approval. And when he cut the short, he stated that it will be funded on GOG budget. So when the 2020 budget was presented in November, we checked for the allocated amount for the Kwalugu Dam, and it was zero. There was no allocation. That's when we started raising the red flags. Then in February, they brought an EPC agreement, which is engineer, procure, and construct, or what you call a turnkey project. When we perused the agreement, we realized that it was a loan facility disguised just like the Sinohydro facility that Dr. Baumia campaigned for, which today we all have become aware that is a loan agreement and not a barter agreement. We also raised issues about the pricing and the costing because we thought that it was too expensive. At that time, the MPP majority had their numbers. And so in 2020, they approved that agreement. The president himself gave a timeline of 48 months. So clearly in 4 years, the project was supposed to be completed and commissioned. Even if you discount the 2019, then you're talking of 2020, 21, 22, 24, or 23. So by end of 2023, we should have seen the project completed. Every year, VRA appeared before the Mines and Energy Committee. We raised this issue. And the challenge was that funding was a major problem. So if you read the parliamentary answers and reports, we kept talking about the slow pace of the Pualugu Dam. But what heightened it is a recent expose at the Public Accounts hearing, where the Bank of Ghana admitted that they've indeed paid $11.949 million to the contractor, Power China International. Now, the minority side asked why the Bank of Ghana made that payment without verification. The Bank of Ghana's answer was simple, that they were only a bank. If you have your money with a bank and you instruct the bank to make payments, the bank has no business asking you as a client why you want to make that payment. Fortunately, the auditors were there. And then they asked the auditors, how come they did not visit the site to verify? But let me provide this clarity. What auditors do is to first inspect your books and to issue an opinion. And so if you were to tell auditors that you bought a Land Cruiser and they ask you where is the documentation for the Land Cruiser and you can't provide any evidence, they don't need to go looking for the Land Cruiser. It means that you've not procured that Land Cruiser. So I think that the auditors were within their right to raise that issue and to state that that payment ought not to have been made. And then the 12 million is quite a huge amount. So the minority leader then asked that we visit the site, and he facilitated the visit. So let me thank the Honorable Chairperson. And we went with the media, Metro TV, and all the other TV stations. Our first point of call was Kurugu, where we visited the chief, and you heard the chief himself. The chief really lamented and was explicit that once a son of the soil, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who hails from the northeast, came and promised them that the dam will be completed, they had absolute faith in their own son, and that if anybody could let them down, they never believed that the vice president would do that. So the chief delegated 2 of his sub-chiefs who joined us, and then we drove down to the construction site itself. It takes you about 5 minutes from the chief's palace or from the village to the dam site. And when we got there, we were shocked at what we saw. Bare land, no construction. And so one would have even thought that normally the contractor would try and put up some campsites in order to continue. When the Chinese went there, they rather went to the chief, and because the chief was so passionate about the project, they evacuated the nurses from the nurses' quarters and gave them the nurses' quarters, hoping that within some months they will construct the campsite. So the evidence there clearly showed that there was no construction, there was no physical work. What we saw were some blocks that were molded. And when we counted the blocks, there were 217 blocks. We counted the pieces. And then 2 trips of sand and 2 trips of chipping stones. So we asked what they were doing with the stones, and they said that the contractor had abandoned site, and when he was going, there was a certain man in the village, one Alhaji Amadu. The contractor sold the blocks, sold the chippings, and sold the sand to this man, took the money, and left Ghana. Our checks indicate that the contractor has left Ghana after receiving the $12 million. So clearly, in contracting, normally when payment is to be made to the contractor, you raise a certificate. The consultant will have to come to the site and verify a proof of that certificate invoices and vouchers are raised before payment. That is why the minority is made it abundantly clear that when we resume as Parliament, we would file the processes in order to hold all these agencies, particularly the Ministry of Finance, before Parliament. And we would ensure that we use whatever legitimate means to retrieve these monies, because that $12 million cannot go down the drain, and whoever issued that instruction will be held liable and accountable. Moreover, we've briefed our flag bearer, and our position is simple. On assumption of office, we shall constitute a thorough audit into all payments. Because yesterday I was on a sister station, and some consultants confirmed that they've also received some payments aside the 12 million. So beyond the 12 million, it does appear that some additional payments have been made. And Professor Miller himself confirmed that. Let me just be specific.
Who's Professor Miller?
He was a pro-VC for the UDS. He's now a consultant, and said he was engaged to undertake some services and was paid. And that was aside this 12 million paid directly to the contractor. I'm also hearing that some other consultants have been paid. But the bottom line is that the 4-year period is elapsed. We are now in 2024, May, and I can confirm to you that not even a teacup of concrete, a teacup of mortar has been poured on that site. Rather, the few blocks that were molded have been auctioned on sole sourcing basis to one individual.
Blocks?
Yeah, they selected one. Elijah Madu. That's the name of the man who bought the block. Elijah Madu.
So
sold the blocks.
The Chinese contractor should go to a competitive tender to sell the blocks.
Yeah, when you are auctioning. So they sold. And it's really a very sorrowful state. But the other issue about the dam was to prevent the annual flooding.
Yes.
Because of the annual flooding, up there, the dam was supposed to hold that water. So, unfortunately, this is the state. And I heard Dr. Baumia last week say that he's committed to completing the dam. Randy, you have 5 months to leave office.
It says when he is voted.
And when he's voted again.
Yes.
But why would he be voted again?
It says it will be a priority.
It's at 8 years. You've gone there, you've cut the sword, you've done nothing. Money has been squandered. And I can tell Ghanaians that if Dr. Baumia becomes president, not only would that dam still be in that sorrowful, poor state, those who've squandered this money, nothing will happen to them. At least the president, Mahama administration would pursue these government officials and retrieve those monies. But I can tell you, Dr. Baumia will not pursue his own. He wouldn't. We've seen a lot of them, a lot of such payments. And you see, it's been a trend. It's not as if it's just the Pualugu Dam. If you look at the motorway, a similar one, money is paid, squandered. And several other similar projects where monies are paid. The SkyTrain, for instance, they went and paid some $2 million. It's squandered. Nothing is done. If you go to the cocoa sector, the same payments made, squandered. In the energy sector, similar payments. So this government must leave office. We must push them out. A new administration must come and ensure that there's a high level of accountability. At least that's the benefit of democracy. The fact that there's an opportunity to change government, the fact that because the ruling government and the incumbent government would always fail to hold its members accountable, at least let them go out of office. Let's subject them to the fire of accountability. And I'm sure that it will serve as a warning to those of us in administration and in office to exercise some level of discretion and some level of caution. So, Randy, that's the state of the Pualugu Dam. When we resume in Parliament, we would not end it there. We would file the processes and ensure that these monies are retrieved.
Well, Randy,
what's going on?
Let me say good morning to you and good morning to my brother, Honorable John, and all those listening to us this morning, especially my constituents. in the Sisala East. Well, Palugu multi-purpose dam, I think, is a very, very important project that has been dear to the heart of all governments since the First Republic. Every government that has come has prioritized this dam. I mean, from Nkrumah's time, if you look at the 7-year development plan of Nkrumah, all these dams were part, apart from Akosombo, Bui. The Kwalugu Dam was part of his 7-year development plan. He did the Akosombo Dam and he was overthrown, so he couldn't continue with the other dams. And subsequently, President Kufuor came and initiated the Bui Dam construction and was eventually completed by Mills. Unfortunately, the Kwalugu Dam has been on the drawing board all these years and unfortunately has not been done. If you look at the 2012 manifesto of the NDC, I mean, it was captured in there as one of Mohammed's priority projects. And I am a bit surprised that my brother didn't give a comprehensive brief on what the NDC did. Apart from the feasibility studies that was done, I think around 2014, there was a contract awarded for that dam to be constructed under the NDC.
Who awarded?
The government of the NDC.
To who?
I think it's the UK Energy.
Please. This is a lie.
Well, this is.
Please.
You can check. You can check.
I was the minister there. I was in that ministry.
You can check.
No, but we didn't award that contract. We awarded a contract for feasibility study, a contract for environmental and social impact assessment before you award the main contract. You need to do a lot of preparatory works. And those were the contracts we awarded so that you can continue with the contract.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But I think beyond that, there was an attempt for the main work to be done. I mean, you can still check, I insist. So the point I am making is that this is a project that has been prioritized by every government that has been in Ghana, from President Nkrumah to President Akufo-Addo. To the extent, John, I believe you remember there was some $300 million loan that was taken, targeted at doing this particular dam, and then another dam around the Julie dam or so.
You have the Juale, you have the Herman, you have the Palugu. I know all those dams.
Yes. And that facility was intended to do all these projects, but the government then said the money was not adequate enough to do the Kwalugu Dam. I am just making the point that the effort
that is going to cost us $1 billion. Obviously, you cannot be talking about $300 million for that and 2 other dams.
Well, but you know, President Mahama had cause to respond to these matters. That he had diverted money that was meant for Kwalugu Dam to some other arrangement, which eventually resulted in the Eastern Corridor rules and all that. I'm just trying to make the point that this dam has been very important and every government has considered it important. And so every government has made some effort trying to develop the dam. So its importance cannot be underestimated. Now, the President Akufo-Addo's government started the process and then cast sought for the project to be executed. And the funding was actually supposed to come from Sino-Hydro, from my understanding. Unfortunately, we are all aware of the development that started from 2019 and all that. And so,
can I just read this one sentence?
Okay, no problem.
Former President John Mahama has described as false allegations that his administration diverted funds intended for the construction of the Palugu Dam in the Upper East region. According to Mr. Mahama, the dam never reached the stage where the government could access funds before his party left office in January 2017. Period.
No, the funds came. I mean, you know that the funds, the 300 million that we are talking of, it came.
The money is here.
Yes. But it was not used for the Kwalugu Dam, which he actually admitted. That was what was used in constructing the Eastern Corridor. It was a Brazilian facility.
It was rather meant for the Juale and Eman, so it's not Palugu.
And they were, no. I am saying.
Why are you bringing Palugu here?
Oh, John. Anyway, let's progress.
All right.
I am saying that the government
This year, his governments were rather intended for the Juale Dam on the Oti River between Ghana-Togo border and financed by Brazil and the government of Ghana at a cost of $300 million.
But you see, this allegation was made, I think, emanated from the VRA. That money was intended for Palugu Dam. But the president then came to clarify that it was not meant for.
Chinia, please, the Brazilian facility, was it not approved in Parliament?
Yes.
And so how could it be
now,
meant
in
for?
the parliamentary records, when you are approving a loan, are the projects that the loan is intended for?
So my understanding is that in that process, both dams were included.
No. Palugu was in the parliamentary document.
No.
It was Palugu and Juale dams. They were the two dams that were being considered.
At 300 million.
Well, but that was the question.
You guys, that is the allegation.
Let's go on. Chinia, let's go.
From 300 million to 900.
But you know, time is a factor. Time is a factor in
inflation.
Yeah,
dollar rated inflation.
Time is a factor in construction.
Dollar rated inflation.
Yes, let's move on. Time is a factor. What you could have done in 10 years with $300 cannot be done today with the same amount.
So between 2017 and 2019. Inflation pushes from 300 to 993.
No. But the design is also a factor. I mean, depending on the kind of design that was done and the design we are having now, could be. So, Randy, the government intended to do this dam through the Sano Hydro project, but because of the economic challenges, I think funding has been a challenge, which the vice president has admitted. But the intentions are clear. And for the $12 million that has been paid, I also agree with John and then the chairman for the Energy Committee. A lot has gone on with the Palugu Dam. So much money has been spent on it, and we haven't made any headway. I will also agree that there is a need for a thorough investigation to establish what actually happened with these expenditures, because we need to know. Because the possibilities are many. And I don't want to throw a guess as to what might have happened with the money. So for now, we all have to be patient and treat government to get the contractors, the consultants, and government itself. Because before the payment was done, there should have been a certificate. What was the basis for the certificate? And the amount involved, what was it intended for? Was it for the actual construction? Was it for preliminary works? Whatever it was intended for, we need to know so that they can be valued for money. $12 million cannot go unaccounted for. And so I agree with him and I agree with any other person who thinks that there should be a thorough investigation And so I will also take this opportunity to urge government to urgently respond to this matter. I feel that ever since this matter came out through the Public Accounts Committee, by this time, we should have gotten a response, either from the Energy Ministry or the Agric Ministry, depending on the ministry that was actually, that initiated the payment, because certainly should have been initiated from somewhere, so that they will tell us, what was the purpose for that payment? Was it for actual works? Was it for preliminary works? Because if it's for preliminary works, then probably you don't expect to see physical works on the site, even though that payment might have been done. My brother is aware there are a lot of projects that government do payment for consultancy, they do payment for environmental assessment, they do payment. So sometimes you hear the values and you may be alarmed that you spend so much money and there is nothing physically to show. But that is part of the process. I mean, and a project that will cost $1 billion, it's not small. And so we need to establish what that payment was meant for. If it was meant for the contractor to go to site and work and he didn't work, of course, then we should be...
China, in the interest of good governance, this matter happened about 1 month ago. If the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, who is a former Minister for Works and Housing, is also at sea and is asking questions, the ranking member is at sea. He's asking questions. The Public Accounts Committee, of which you are a member, is also asking questions. The governor says, ask the auditors. The auditors too are telling us something else. We elected people who superintend over these monies and who authorize for these payments to be made. Is 1 month not too long a time for somebody to tell us that it is A or it is B or it is C?
Yeah, I agree with you. I just said that by this time, either the Ministry of Energy or Agri, whichever ministry the process to do the payment emanated from, should have been responding to this matter. So I totally agree with you. Government should have issued, through the appropriate agency or ministry, should have issued a statement or should have addressed a press conference to clarify what the payment was meant for and whether it was used appropriately or not, and who is responsible for the appropriate use or inappropriate use. All these matters should have been clarified by now, and I have made that point. Because me even sitting here, I wouldn't be able to talk about it deeply because I don't know.
It was 12.
I don't know
yes.
What the money was meant for. Whether it was for preliminary works or it was actual works, I don't know. And if it is for actual works and 12 million has been taken and nothing is done at the site, then there is something wrong and somebody must be answering questions.
Because you see, the contractor did not break into Bank of Ghana.
Not at all.
To go and take over $12 million. This is a country, and especially a government that believes that $2 million for ambulance is so huge a matter and a huge loss that we must pursue people and be in court for years in order to punish people who we believe had done wrong concerning $2 million. And so when we are told that we've paid close to $13 million and there's nothing to show, and this is how we respond to it, it raises a lot of questions. And it's as if this country has money that we don't know what to do with it. Because, like Honorable was saying, then you talk about this, then somebody who says, oh, SkyTrain will give people 2 million. Then you see an Auditor General's report that says that the people didn't even have the right certification to even engage in what we gave them the $2 million for. Then you ask, so, and that there was no due diligence. So how come we keep dishing out these monies as if we have some bottomless? It's like the vault of the U.S. Treasury is by us, and we can just dip our hands and just throw money at people. Motorway, we are told that we pay some $2.5 million, zero. That is also another story. Then people will mention other ones. We've paid money. There's nothing to show. Recently, we were even told that we have some money with one of those World Health Organization agencies or something for medications. We have not even bothered to go and chase the money. So when you hear all these stories, and most of them are coming from audits.
So Randy, I think that the point you made about 2 million euros that is being in court is what should be telling government and ministries and agencies to respond to these matters. Because if someone is being prosecuted for allegedly misapplying or abusing office and causing financial loss to the tune of 2 million euros, and these matters are coming up, there is payment of $12 million, and there is nothing to show. And I mean, somebody must be answerable to the people of Ghana, of course. And so government needs to respond. The appropriate ministry or agency needs to let us know. I am interested in knowing what the money was meant for. Like I said, there are huge projects like this. There are payments that can even surpass the $12 million. That may not necessarily have to be used for works, physical works on the ground. So they should come and tell us, was the money meant for preliminary works, which may not reflect physically on the ground, or it was meant for physical work?
Well, no. That is why you conduct an audit. The essence of an audit is to determine what the money was meant for, how it was paid, is there value for money, does it meet international accounting standards, and all that. This is an issue the audit raised, that it shouldn't have been paid. So it's not as if...
So those who paid must say that the audit is wrong. because of
then,
ABCD reasons.
Yeah, then the audit would give you an opportunity. That's how I do audit. They come, they go back, they send it back for you. We raise issues. We've realized this, they provide information back and forth. Then they qualify it. The auditors have raised and qualified that money shouldn't have been paid. Then it goes to the Public Accounts Committee, and you are given another opportunity. Maybe as the auditors raise that, you've gone to rectify or correct that anomaly. So at the Public Accounts Committee, they'll say, yeah, we shouldn't have paid, but we've retrieved the money. So far, all the evidence shows that this money was paid inappropriately and shouldn't have been paid. And that is why government officials are quiet.
John, I think.
No, but what I've said suffices.
$12 million. $12 million. It's not chicken change. It's not. $12 million US dollars. It's not.
But the point is that when auditors comes to audit you, and they query a particular payment. Mm-hmm. You are given
the opportunity
30 days within which to respond.
Yes.
In some cases, or in most cases, the agencies don't even respond at all within the 30 days. And once you don't respond, then to find its way into the audit report.
Yes.
So who's to blame?
So once it gets into the audit report, then you still have the opportunity to appear before public accounts to respond to it.
Yes.
In this particular case, I can say that the agencies involved, I'm sure when they were queried, did not respond at all. And that is why, because if they had given satisfactory explanation why that expenditure, then the matter would have ended there. But once they didn't respond, then it got into the audit report. Now at the audit Public Accounts Committee, the Bank of Ghana was the entity that was questioned. And their response, I believe, is right. Because for them, ministries and agencies will process payments based on work done. And then it is pushed to them. It is not for the Bank of Ghana to go and find evidence whether the payment that has been submitted to them for payment was appropriately done. So I believe that Bank of Ghana was not the appropriate agency to respond to whether the money was used appropriately or not. Because for them, if Ministry of Water and Sanitation gives a contract and the contractor raises a certificate, and then the ministry has to be sure that works have been done before you process the certificate. And then when it gets to Bank of Ghana, they know you have done all the due diligence, and so their duty is just to pay. So it means that if there is a problem with the payment, it is Ministry of Sanitation.
Does the central bank pay without looking at any?
They would have done the attachments.
Everything will be attached.
They would have auditors to see it.
Yes.
They would have done given all the attachments.
Yes.
That this work done,
I'm not sure
carried out,
the central
certified.
government will go ahead and the central bank will just go ahead and pay when it hasn't seen documents.
And it's not like the central bank pays. It goes to controller.
It goes to controller, yes. Controller does the
controller have to verify.
Yes.
And then issue the instruction. So if the auditors cannot find any paper trail, and they are saying that this payment shouldn't have been paid, there's a huge problem. Randy, like you said, Minister, 12 million is no small money.
Dollars.
There should be some evidence on the ground. 12 million, there should be some evidence on the ground.
No, like Honorable is saying, if, for example, it was for feasibility.
No, feasibility is done already.
You don't get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, even if, assuming that it was for feasibility. So first of all, the contract, whatever was approved, will indicate all those things.
Will show.
So if 12 million was for something included in the contract, we should know. And the evidence of that thing having been done should be there.
Yes, and this contract is an EPC contract.
Which means what?
Engineer, procure, construct. Some also call turnkey. You will do it and handle it. So it's for construction, which presupposes that all these things is done. You are now going to construct. So most of the payment, would be geared towards execution. That is my point. And I'm saying 12 million is too big an amount for paperwork or things that is done in an abstract manner, which cannot be seen physically. That is why we went there. So that at least we'll see for ourselves. Only to be told that the 2 trips of sand The two trips of Sunday.
John.
They've sold it. I mean, look, boss, the only way to unravel this thing is beyond 2024.
It cannot be the case.
In 2025,
it cannot be the case.
We will get to the bottom.
It can be unraveled now. I tell
you, this 12 million, we'll retrieve it. We'll retrieve the 12 million. 2025, first 100 days, we'll deal with this matter. It's a matter.
It should be dealt with now, not. Why do you have to?
No. Come up one man.
I mean, they should be.
At least the vice president, even after this had the opportunity, he commented on it. You know what he said? That when if he's lucky and he wins,
they say he will execute the project.
Oh, but John,
look at this.
You also promised. You even stated in your manifesto in 2012. In 4 years, you didn't do it. But you are still promising it. So the fact that 2012 NDC manifesto, Palugu Dam is in there to be constructed. And after 4 years, you couldn't do it. So the fact that we couldn't do it does not mean that the vice president, as our flag bearer, cannot promise that in 2025, when he becomes president, he will do it.
I think I clarify something for you. In 2020, when the vice president was telling Obi that when he was asked about what the government has done up north, when he mentioned Palugu as a signature project that has been done, what did he mean by that?
I think that was the point. It was awarded in November 2019, and I mean there were efforts to construct it. So on the basis of the site handing over and the fact that he believed the contractors would execute the job, he felt that it's the biggest investment would have gotten the north. That is a fact. But at the end of the day, the funding didn't come in, so the project could not be done.
You see, the truth is that it was a scam.
Huh?
It was a scam.
Oh, John.
Let me tell you why it was a scam.
John, don't.
We're nearing election. So the president quickly went and commissioned it in 2019.
November.
Yes, and 2020, they made capital out of it.
Oh, how did that project?
The vice president campaigned in the north with the Palugu Dam and even attacked President Mahama and said that President Mahama never did any major project in the north, and that he, as a son of the soil, has brought the Palugu Dam, and that if President Mahama wins, he will abandon the Palugu Dam.
Oh, but
he made it a campaign song, went from village to village, town to town, rallying the people. 4 years down the lane, not only have you failed to deliver that project, the evidence points to the fact that you've squandered some of the money. That is the issue. That is the problem. And I think that you ought to apologize to the people. And like the chief lamented, if anybody could deceive them, if anybody would scam them, they never expected their own son. And look, you could tell that the chief was at pain. You bring them there, they give you accommodation, and look at the end of the day, look at what you've done. Look at this. And then you come and start again, having mismanaged the project, having squandered the money. Then you say, oh, vote for me. When I come, I'll come and construct the dam. I mean, Ghanaians must. All right. I mean, this issue should be dismissed.
Randy, yes. I think that John is being overly.
No, I'm passionate. I went there.
We are all passionate.
I wish you were there.
We are all passionate
this
about.
One ignites passion.
Dr. Baumia is very passionate about
this one. It ignites passion.
You see,
as if you said the sites.
You see, I have said that all governments from Nkrumah's government to date have made effort at.
But nobody has paid 12 million to an entity that has vanished with it.
We need to establish.
No government has paid 12 million.
John, we need to establish.
That has vanished.
We need to establish.
The establishment was that the 12 million was paid to Power China.
Yes.
Where is Power China today?
We need to know.
That one is an established fact.
So it's not money that has been taken by government. We need to establish.
It's money that has been paid by government.
Yes.
The officials that you are charging before court. Did you go to court because they took money?
We need to investigate.
The ambulance. The man brought ambulance. He brought the ambulance.
There were no ambulances. There were no ambulances.
You said there were ambulances. There were vans. I think something was delivered. He says, okay, let me take them back and pay you. You said no way. You still want to press charges.
So let's the
contractor has vanished. So you can imagine what will happen 2025.
Matadeo. All right. So the Daily Graphic on page 18 says Bawumia Mahama, spar over economy at CEO's Summit. Let's watch excerpts of what happened.
Today we stand at a critical and troubling crossroads. Our beloved country, Ghana, has become a bankrupt, collapsed economy due to poor leadership of almost 8 years. This leadership has failed Ghanaians and yet refuses to accept
about 304 projects so far. And so we are not talking about guinea fowl projects or that, or planting projects and so on. It's very, very tree planting projects that bent when they were planted. So we can talk about this economy that you say has not done well is doing better than you did when you were president, Your Excellency. And so you can see, and then we implemented free senior high school education. Now that is one major landmark policy that we have put in place, and that most people thought it wasn't going to be possible. In fact, the former president said if he had 2 billion Ghana cedis, he wouldn't invest it in free senior high school education. But well, we have, and the benefits are huge. You've seen an increase in enrollment in free senior high school education. If this is what a collapsed economy is, then I don't know what his economy was in that regard, because in all of these metrics that are routine in the area of development, we are doing better than the economy that he was managing as president. 17.6 million projects so far. And so we are not talking about guinea fowl projects or that, or planting projects and so on. It's very, very tree planting projects that bent when they were planted. So we can talk about this economy that you say has not done well is doing better than you did when you were president, Your Excellency. And so you can see, and then we implemented free senior high school education. Now that is one major landmark policy that we have put in place, and that most people thought it wasn't going to be possible. In fact, the former president said if he had 2 billion Ghana cedis, he wouldn't invest it in free senior high school education. But well, we have, and the benefits are huge. You've seen an increase in enrollment in free senior high school education from 800,000 to 1.4 million, a 75% increase. And in the process, we have obtained gender parity. When we started free SHS, for every 100 boys in school, you had 68 girls. Today, for every 100 boys, you have 106 girls. And that enrollment increase has brought gender parity. But what is even more important is that if you look at the increase in enrollment into free SHS in Ghana, the highest increases have come from the 5 northern regions. So they constitute the highest ratios of enrollment in free SHS in Ghana, which is very good because the poorer societies, the poorer regions are getting more access. But what is even more important than this is that the quality has not dropped. We are seeing a major increase in quality through performance. And they have not been cheating, by the way. You've seen that, the core 6 subject in WACSI, and Ghana has not left the West African Exams Council, by the way. We are still part of it. But the top core 6 subjects, the performance in 2015 pass rate was 41%. Today, core 6 subjects, the pass rate is 64%. So we are seeing better performance as a result of this. So if this is what a collapsed economy is, then I don't know what his economy was in that regard, because in all of these metrics that are routine in the area of development, we are doing better than the economy that he was managing as president. Now, beyond this, as I said, one has to go beyond the routine because in getting the business economy to move and the business sector to thrive, we need ideas. We need transformational ideas. We need to change our system. And this is what we have been doing
over the last few years, also trying to change the system. And this is why digital transformation has been very important for us.
Today we stand at a critical and troubling crossroads. Our beloved country, Ghana, has become a bankrupt, collapsed economy due to poor leadership of almost 8 years. This leadership has failed Ghanaians and yet refuses to accept or even take responsibility for the most reckless management of our economy known in previous history. This has plunged our nation into an unprecedented economic crisis and is reported to have pushed more than 800,000 of our fellow citizens below the poverty line. Unemployment has jumped to 14.7% from 8.5% in 2017, the highest level recorded in the history of the Fourth Republic. Inflation is above 25%, and current interest rates range between 30 and 50%. The exchange rate, which was previously at 4 cedis to the US dollar, has crossed the 15 Ghana cedi threshold, and there appears to be no end in sight to the deterioration of the poor cedi. And on a humorous note, this is long after government inaugurated a high-powered committee, 38-member committee, to investigate causes of the depreciation of the cedi in 2022. Despite this government appears unconcerned or unwilling to cut expenditure and continues to spend more on creature comforts instead of investing in the transformational infrastructure that will propel this nation forward. I drew attention to the significance of digital transformation as a crucial factor for Ghana's economic progress. Additionally, I elaborated on the advantages of implementing a 24-hour economic policy to enhance competitiveness, attract investments, improve socio-economic development, and stimulate private sector growth. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, people have always used the best available resources and tools to achieve specified objectives. Game, Glovo, Nivea, Big Pen, Dark and Lovely have all shut down. Unilever has relocated its tea production to Nigeria, and amid all this, our public debts now hit a staggering 658.6 billion Ghana cedis. But we cannot despair over the poor quality of governance that has served us in the last 7.5 years. I wish to use this opportunity to appeal to you, captains of industry and the investor community, to tarry a bit more. Please don't leave our country. It is said that the darkest hour is before the dawn. The beauty of our democracy is that it affords us the opportunity to change our current trajectory. You can rest assured that a new NDC administration will work with you to create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive. Together, we'll expand your businesses to create more opportunities for an increasingly youthful population.
All right, so those were excerpts of the speeches by President Mahama and His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. Now, so if you check out page 3 of the Daily Guide, it says that Dr. Bawumia has challenged President Mahama to a debate on the economy. And he said the current government has undertaken tangible and verifiable development projects as opposed to those of the NDC. And the Vice President argued with the NDC flag bearer, stated that NPP government's initiatives are no guinea fowl. He says that we have done over 200 projects in the area of Zongo development across all Zongos in the country. You look at our investment in technical and vocational education, over 6 billion cedis in the last 7 years, the highest investment in TVET by any government in the Fourth Republic. And we've made technical and vocational education also free in that context. You see, in terms of our development authority, there are 1,609 projects completed. And under the Northern Development Authority, it has also completed over 304 projects so far. And so we are not talking about guinea fowl projects, but real projects. Now, President Mahama said, quote, "We are all aware of our country's current challenges and difficulties. Today, we stand at a critical and troubling crossroads as our beloved Ghana has become a bankrupt, collapsed economy due to poor leadership over the past 8 years, pushing some 8,000 of our citizens into the poverty line." Honorable Chinya.
Well, Randy, first of all, I want to commend the two presidential candidates for accepting to speak on the platform. I mean, if you want to lead, the most important thing is to express your vision clearly to the people you want to lead. And you know, in Ghana, the NDC and the MPP are the two major political parties. Everybody knows on 7th of December, one of them will be elected the president of Ghana. And politics should be reduced to vision and ideas and policies of the various political parties. And so when you have our leaders sharing the same political platform to tell the people they want to lead what they intend to do constructively, I think it's really positive. And I was very excited when I listened to both of them yesterday. It will give Ghanaians the opportunity to, I mean, unfortunately, both of them have been in government before. The former President Mahama has been vice president and president before. Dr. Bawumia has been vice president the last 7.5 years. And so at least both have an opportunity to showcase what they did when they were in government and to tell the people what they intend to do if they get the next opportunity. And listening to both of them, of course, they both espouse what they have achieved in the past. When Dr. Bawumia telling Ghanaians a lot of projects in education, in health, in the economy, and I mean major areas, and then also telling us his vision if he becomes president. Of course, former President Mahama taking a jab at government on some of the difficulties that confronts the Ghanaian economy, which is in his, certainly he has to take advantage of that. But Randy, for me, I keep saying that the current economic challenges that confront Ghana, from the president to every appointee of this government, will be out of your mind if you don't sympathize with the people of Ghana. Because there are real challenges, there are real difficulties that faces families, individuals, businesses, and all that. But don't let us also forget that these challenges are global in nature. I mean, it is not the case that all the reasons why we are facing these challenges are within Ghana. I mean, for instance, the currency depreciation, the cedi depreciation against the dollar. If you go and look at the international market, the US dollar has, posed a challenge to almost all currencies across the globe. Go and check. All currencies have depreciated against the US dollar. It's not just Ghana. And if you look at the last report that was issued, in fact, Nigeria's naira has depreciated against the dollar. It's worse than Ghana's situation. And the finance minister spoke, I think, a week ago, outlining measures being put in place to ensure that the cedi is stabilized. I mean, that is the responsibility of government. When things are get out of hand, you have a duty. You can't only lament about the global situation, but you have to find solutions to the problems. And the solutions are in two folds. One, you have to be looking at short-term solutions, and that is where government is looking at the MOU being signed with our bilateral creditors. Certainly will result in we getting some financial support, which will inject some dollar liquidity into our system. There are other expected resources that should also come into the system that will support the cedi and at least reduce the level of depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. Of course, there are long-term solutions which will involve the 1D1F and other major projects that we have to invest in, so that eventually we should be able to produce a lot of things within our country and reduce the level of importations, so that the pressure on the dollar or the cedi to change to dollars for importation, once that eventually reduces, because we are self-sufficient in the production of certain products, our currency will be more stable. The former president talks about the debt situation. I mean, I have always admitted that when you manage something and it increases or it expands, you have to accept responsibility of the change. But you are talking about Bawumia wanting to be president and John Mahama wanting to be president, and we need to look at the two of them, their records. Now, if in 2009, John Nko took over governance in Ghana, and the total debt in cedis was about 9 billion Ghana cedis, a little over 9 billion Ghana cedis, and after 8 years, they left 120 billion Ghana cedis. It means that our debt has increased in 12 folds. Now, if today our debt is over 600 billion, the rate of increase between 2009 and 2016 by John and Co., if we're increasing at the same rate, our debt should have been over 1 trillion cedis now. That is worth consideration. John, don't shake your head. The rate at which you were accumulating debt, the rate go from 9 billion to 120 billion, and then we took it from 120 billion to over 600 billion. It means the rate has at least reduced. If we're increasing at your increasing rate, at the rate at which we're increasing, Ghana should have been worse off than today. So those comparative analysis ought to be done. I am not saying that our debt situation today is good. No. We could have done better. I hope we're doing better, it would have been good.
Today is better than you inherited.
I am saying that if NDC were to be in charge of Ghana for the last 8 years, and you had continued the rate you did between 2009 and 2016 or 17, it means our debt situation should have been worse than it is. Check your own rate. From 9 billion Ghana cedis to 120 billion, and from 120 billion to about 650 billion. You see that the rate at which debt was increasing under President Mahama was far more than it has been increasing under President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia as Vice President. So I'm saying that if NDC was in charge of Ghana in the last 7.5 years, and you were still increasing at the rate you were increasing in your last 8 years, the situation would have been worse. And those are the comparisons people need to make a choice between Dr. Bawumia and then former President Mahama. But in all reality, I am excited. I am excited that the two of them were at the forum, or they spoke at the forum. Ghanaians listened to both of them. They will make a judgment of each of them. And we need more of those opportunities. We need more opportunities where the former president and the vice president will share platform to at least tell Ghanaians their vision, what they intend to do, and then questions posed to them on their record. And I mean, how they respond to the questions will help Ghanaians to make a determination as to whether to bring Dr. Bawumia as the president in 2025 or John Mahama. But in all, I am confident that Ghanaians will certainly want to have Dr. Bawumia in 2025. That is my personal opinion, because, I mean, we want to make progress. We can't go back to the past.
Now, let me read this. Tina, let me just read this to you, and then I get your comments. The Ghana Federation of Traders has called on the government to take measures to lower the exchange rate from 15 cedis to 10 cedis or face their wrath. The federation, which consists of 8 groups, contends that the depreciation of a cedi is depleting their capital, thereby jeopardizing their businesses. Mr. Kweku Boatin, the chairman of the Ghana Federation of Traders and president of the Automobile Dealers Union, stated that firm actions must be taken to reduce the exchange rate. We warned that the group will organize a nationwide protest if the government does not promptly address the issue in 2 weeks. He says we are about 8 unions, strong unions. Let our government know that the way the dollar is climbing and our cedi is meaningless means that the business community can rise up. As I'm speaking, businesses are collapsing. In 2 years, my capital can import only 3 containers. Mm-hmm. From 2014 to 2015, I imported 20 containers a year. Now, 3 years down the line, I've imported only 3 containers. What we, the traders, are telling the world, our leaders in the Ghanaian community as a whole, a lot of unions are coming out to join to demonstrate. We are pleading, urging our president and vice president that in 2 weeks, as we said, if we don't hear anything from them about the dollar from 15 to 10, we'll let the world hear. I don't know how government is going to change from 15 to 10, but as you make your analysis on your rates, he's also saying that he used to import 20 containers. 2014, 2015.
At a higher rate.
After 3 years
now,
down
That is not it. John, nobody says the rate is lower.
It says 3 years down the line, he can, with the same amount of money, import only 3 containers.
You see,
that's his reality.
Yes, Randy, and I agree with him and I sympathize with him. I have, Randy, we have discussed this here before.
Right.
And I keep saying that I will never run away from the fact that the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar is affecting the business community. It's affecting everybody. And when the business community are affected, the trickle-down effect is to the ordinary Ghanaian. And so everybody in Ghana is being affected. No doubt about that. Because once you bring in goods and the cedi depreciates, because you are selling cedis, and after selling, you have to change the cedis into dollars so that you can import. So if the cedi depreciates against the dollar, it means you require more cedis to get probably fewer, to get your dollars. And so if you require more cedis, it means your dollar position will go down. And so your capital is affected. No doubt about it. And government, of course, is taking steps to remedy the situation. The finance minister had a press conference, I think, last week. There are steps that are being taken. Like I said earlier, some of them are short-term measures, and I believe that there will be stability. And so I can only appeal to them to exercise some restraint whilst government make effort to address the situation. But sometimes, Randy, even though the reality is that their capital is affected, but it's also important to add. Today, John sitting here may say that the rate of change is not important because probably it satisfies him. But rate of change is important. If the rate of change, if the rate of change, something is changing at, say, 10%, and another is changing at 15%, are they the same? They cannot be the same.
Rates?
They can't be the same.
No.
So the rate of depreciation, the rate of depreciation under you then, if we were experiencing the same rate of depreciation, our position would have been worse. That is the point I am making. I am not saying that I am not saying that I'm happy with the situation. I am not happy. And I know it affects me, it affects my constituents, it affects every Ghanaian. Once the cedi depreciates against the dollar, everybody in Ghana is affected. But Randy, it's also important when these people are talking as though they could have done better, when their record doesn't support what they're saying. We also need to point it out. It doesn't mean that we don't sympathize with the business community. It doesn't mean that we don't agree with the sentiments of the business community. But John and Co should not pretend as if they could have done better when their record clearly shows that if we were going at the level they were going when they had the opportunity, it would have been worse off.
Let me give you some education.
No, you are not. You are making your point.
When we are talking of rate of change, there's a starting point. You understand? Randy, the trader is not so much interested in what we do here about rates and rates. It's reality. Under NDC, under your so-called West rate, I could do this number of containers. Under MPP, these are the containers I could do. Look, do you know that there's a crude way of measuring inflation, and there's the standard way that Bank of Ghana and Co does? So if you use the normal crude way, it's just to say that the dollar was 10, now it's 15. So you just do the rate of change between 15 and 10. But in the economics field, you don't do it that way. You use today's rate, yesterday's rate, and take the inflation between the two countries. So you normally see a lower rate. But, Minister, let me just give you a quick example. I have 100,000 cedi debt today. Are you following?
Yeah, I'm following.
You borrow 100,000. So it's 200,000. That's 100%. Is that not it? If you're 100,000 and you add 100,000, that's a 100% increment. Yeah. So 200,000. The next day, if you add 200,000, that's 100,000. Because it's over and above. So as you move, the rate slows. But the impact is huge. And that is what Dr. Bawumia is doing. That's why we're in this mess. This gymnastics with rate of change, not facing reality. That is why we are in this mess. Because when your debt moves from 100 to 200, it's 100%. The next day, if you add 200, It's a huge figure. But it is 200 because you're moving from 200 to 400. So it's on year and year and year and year. And if you get deceived by that, and that's what you are doing here, you will face to face reality and you'll be caught up in a web. But what is the net effect? With that higher rate of change under Mahama, we never defaulted. Because the issue of debt is not even the debt. Japan's debt is more than 100%. The US is hugely indebted.
Yeah.
It's how you are able to manage that debt, which you call debt servicing, i.e. paying the interest component and the principal as and when they are due. So if you are credit worthy and you can pay your debt and you can mobilize internal resources to deal with that, it's not an issue. That's why you just don't look at the debt. You look at your percentage of tax to debt servicing, your revenue to debt servicing, and do your projection. And we say that, look, you are financially sound. People can do business with you. As we speak, we are bankrupt as a country. We can't pay. Look, you can't even service your debt. You are bankrupt. Did you ever hear of a haircut under President Mahama with this so-called high debt? That you take people's money and come back and tell them that I can't pay you back. Take a haircut. Did you hear that? I mean, you're talking of a very serious situation. You know the number of years it will take for us to even correct this mess that you put us in. And I was listening to the vice president. There are some people who wrote exam. It was 40% pass mark. Now it's 60%. And so what? No, and so what with the economy? And so what? So the exchange rate is good? So our debt to GDP is good? I mean, you see, we should get serious with the people of Ghana. We are talking of the economy of Ghana. 800 people have been pushed. 800,000 people. That's almost 1 million. Pushed into the poverty bracket. You ought to be worried as a government. There are almost 1 million people pushed into the poverty bracket. And you are telling us that some people want to write exam. 800,000 people. Inflation is increasing 25%. You know what it means? Inflation eats away your purchasing power. That's what inflation does. It eats your purchasing power. People are struggling. My brother, go to the market today. And Ghanaians, if you're watching, look, just use inflation. If your life under President Mahama was worse than today in terms of inflation, vote for Bawumia. If your life today is worse, vote for President Mahama. Because under President Mahama, the cost of living was not this way. Today, people are struggling. They can't even make ends meet. They can't get 3 square meals today. It's so terrible. And you are telling us rate of change. Go and tell the market woman that rate of change. And they are the ones complaining, not me, that their businesses are collapsing. Businesses are leaving Ghana. And Adako has left Ghana. Exxon has left Ghana. Here now they are moving to Cote d'Ivoire. Our oil production is reduced by 32% since 2019. Why? Because of the hostile environment you find yourself. And when you meet the big boys, I was in Houston. What is happening with Ghana? Why? Creeping taxes, unpredictable regimes. Today they are changing this, they are changing that. And look at the state of Ghana today. Ghana, third worst currency in Africa. And he said the US currency has appreciated. You are third worst in Africa. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, third worst currency. And you find solace that the US currency has appreciated. What are the others doing that you are not doing? Cote d'Ivoire, President Akufo-Addo's favorite Cote d'Ivoire, is overtaking Ghana. Unemployment rate under Mahama, 8%. Today, 14%. 14 from 8 to 14%. Look, just January to February, our debt increased by 47 million cedis. At this rate, even your total revenue cannot service the debt. 47 million?
Million or billion?
A billion, sorry. 47 billion.
Is that
we are now at
the
658. That is the issue. You are not managing your currency. And you are not paying your debt as well. Because when you pay the interest component, the principal stays, like a plain vanilla bond. Or you do amortization, where you pay part of the interest and part of the principal. so that even the principal itself keep reducing. But when you declare bankruptcy and you are not paying, the interest increases because, one, the principal, the next year the interest adds to the principal. Yeah. Then the interest on the principal and the interest on the interest that is compounded on the, so then you begin to compound
and it's worsened
and
by,
it's
like by depreciation.
Yes, and then the CD depreciation worsens it. Unemployment also worsens it because productivity is not going on. So you don't even raise the needed revenue. And you find yourself in this.
So the point you're making, in other words, is that you cannot blame only depreciation. Although it is your job to maintain the value of the CD, you can not only blame depreciation, because the decision not to service your debt is your decision.
It's your decision.
So if you were servicing, you would have reduced.
Yes, you'd have reduced.
So even if you were battered by depreciation, the increment will not be like when you're not servicing.
And when as you service, yes, it has an effect on the currency.
Yes.
You see the point? The currency behaves in a certain way. When people find you credit worthy, then they also bring you more dollars. Because we find you credit worthy. So before we declared bankruptcy, we could get about 3 billion every year in terms of dollars. So when you get the 3 billion, it comes to shore up your currency, and your currency strengthens. Then you pay the interest component. Then you use that money.
I mean, when they say that a Ghanaian worker is a magician, for most public servants, this is the principle that has helped them. You take the things on credit. When you are paid, you go and pay.
That is
then
it.
They give you more.
In fact,
when you default, nobody will give you again.
Not even in Ghana, abroad. People live on credit. They go credit card. So interest rate is a major factor in terms of consumption abroad. Look at where we are. Look at the lending rates. Everything that you inherited is in the negative. And instead of initially attempted to run away. Baumia cleverly, when he says he's a driver mate, he attempted to push everything onto Akufo-Addo and then find a leeway. But he was grabbed, like people started. So now he's changed gear again. And this is what you call the Al Gore syndrome. Inconsistency is not predictable. Fair weather friend. When training college allowance is not there, he goes to issue instructions, say that he has issued instructions. They are paying. When others happen, he say, no, I'm only a driver mate. I don't take decisions. So inconsistency is a part of the candidate. And I think that where we've gotten to look, the only way out. And Randy, we are at the spring meeting. And we met a lot of these business communities. They can't wait for the MPP to leave office. I'm telling you for a fact. This is not they can't wait for the MPP to leave office.
Why?
They've lost faith in this government. They have no trust in this government. Look at the taxes alone. Pollution levy, COVID levy, sanitation levy, what levy? You mentioned them. The taxes, the number of taxes. Today, when you go to the port, try and import a machine for farming, not luxury car. Just try to get, say, a truck to boost your business, so maybe you can transport tomatoes. Look at the taxes. And they've changed the tax computation. They tax you and then come and add all the tax to the duty and charge VAT on it. So the VAT is not on the CIF value. No. They take the CIF value and apply all the taxes. Then it compounds and becomes a huge figure. Then they apply VAT on that figure. Look, this government has lost it. Any discerning Ghanaian, any Ghanaian who loves this country, anybody who means well for this country, will not vote for this government. You must go home, reflect on your incompetence.
Don't mind, John.
Next time you have the opportunity,
don't mind, John.
You won't take the people for granted. But you know what pains me?
Something little.
Beyond this is the insults. The intellectual insults. And that's what my brother tried to do here. You see, the whole thing was about economy. He knows he can't do anything with the economy. So he goes to take free SHS. And chew all his speech, it was about free SHS.
No.
Meanwhile,
all the sectors.
Songo projects.
Development,
whatever projects.
Look, captains of industry are concerned about the state of the economy. Because in business, you need a certain level of certainty and a certain level of predictability.
And he spoke to all those issues.
So that you can plan. we believe that the rate of inflation will be this, the exchange rate. You factor all that into your model, and you do a scenario and sensitivity analysis. Now you can't even plan. So businesses are concerned that going forward, how can we have a stable economy? And it says that 61 people went and wrote the exam, and they passed West.
No. You see, Randy, let me just.
Can you imagine?
What John is trying to do.
Are you happy with him?
You see,
are you happy with him?
We are talking about the economy.
Yes.
There are matters that you manage the economy that the management reflects on.
Yes.
Education is one. Health is one. Okay. The way you manage the economy has a reflection on all sectors of the economy.
So what happened with health?
So now, the vice president was making the point that when it comes to free SHS, we have had enrollment increasing from 800,000 to 1.4 million students having opportunity to be in secondary school. And you know, one of the barriers of development is illiteracy rate in Ghana.
Mm-hmm. Unemployment rate is increasing.
Illiteracy rate is a major problem. So the ability of government to educate more people in the next 10, 20 years.
And make them employable.
Listen. Will have an impact on the economy.
Provide them with skills.
It will have an impact. That is why we have also introduced TVET. So if you have had the opportunity of increasing student population from 800 to 1.4 million with this economy, you can't tell me that it means nothing. And he also went on to say that the pass rate used to be about 43%. Now it has increased to about over 60%. It means something, John. You can't say it means nothing.
It means nothing, please.
It means something on the economy. All those things mean something on the economy.
So.
He talked about health infrastructure, Agenda 111, that have been done. Over 80% of them, ambulances across the country, and all that.
You see
but John made a point. John made a point about debt servicing.
Mm-hmm.
Debt servicing.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you know we have multilateral and bilateral debts.
Mm-hmm.
As we speak, it is not the case that government is not servicing all our debts. Multilateral debts are being serviced.
The multilateral debts is the IMF. And
yes, they have been serviced. So don't say.
The component.
With African Development Bank,
billion of Eurobond. You are not
John.
There's the
wait,
the OCC official.
John, wait.
5.7 billion.
John, wait.
The IMF insisted that because they are giving money,
you have made the point, and that has been the point of the NDC, as though government of Ghana is not servicing any debt. Our debts are categorized into two: multilateral debts, bilateral debts. We are servicing our multilateral debts. It's the bilateral debts that we are not servicing. And you know, because we are not servicing the bilateral debt, it also even has an impact on our economy, because
that's what
the releases they were supposed to make to major projects that we are undertaking.
But that's our decision.
And now we are eventually the MOU is being signed.
Which MOU?
With our creditors and bilateral creditors.
Last week, you know what?
Last week we had
that. You know who will come and implement it?
Who?
It's Mahama.
Oh, Masa.
Let me tell you the process.
Where is Mahama coming?
It's not done yet.
Mahama is not close.
It has to even come to Parliament.
What?
The agreement with the Paris Club. It has to come to Parliament. So
John,
when I heard them running around,
Mahama is
they were doing the same thing with the Eurobond holders. They rejected Ghana's offer. So the Eurobond is hanging. And we met them. Look, as a government in waiting, a minister.
Well, government waiting. For the
way. A lot.
Don't deceive yourself.
We met them in Washington.
Mahama,
and when we gave them our roadmap
again.
as to how we'll deal with the situation, they can't wait for this government to leave office. They are bereft of ideas. They've lost it completely. Look, anything this government has, they should do it now. To say that I can do ABCD, I'm in government too. My government is in government. My government is punishing you with taxes. But if you want the taxes to be abolished, retain my government. Now, where is this logic?
John, what
where
is
this logic?
Randy, why are you saying?
Where is this logic?
No. John, you were the spokesperson to the vice president under Mills. You were a spokesperson to Mahama as vice president.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me, be honest from the bottom of your heart, that his position as a vice president meant the same as his position as president?
Let me be very frank with you.
When the man
you asked a question,
you were complaining.
Look,
your office was sidelined.
the opportunity to manage the economy.
Oh, wait, for
and he left
Dufo has
as
told
vice
you,
president.
Dufo has told us that
Sterling
was not chairman of the economy. Dufo has made that discounted.
President Mahama himself said that President Mills gave him so much work that
was after that.
He said it too. So why is this issue that was
Randy, Ghanaians will
okay, so has Dr.
Ghanaians will celebrate people after we celebrate people after they die. The point I am making is that a president and a vice president can never be the same.
We haven't said they're the same.
They cannot be the same.
That his job is to manage the economy.
As vice president,
we haven't said
his work cannot be the same
as
president.
So let's judge him on his work.
And he has done better as vice president. He is
the chairman of the head of the economic management team. That is his job. And Akufo-Addo himself said as for him, he doesn't know economics. But he's going to the Bank of Ghana and taking this intelligent, brilliant man that he's so sure that he can go home and sleep.
Mischievous.
The man is coming, he's messed up the economy. A total and complete failure. The economy is in shambles. This economy is in a quagmire. And instead of him to own up, he can't say that he was only on a planque. He was not in charge. And then after that, you know what he says?
Bawumia is the government official who has defended the policies of this government than any other government. He doesn't run away. He has never run away from the performance of the government. Not at all.
Up next, GFG Trends. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Time to check out what is trending on social media with Desi, the star boy.
Look, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. May is running away. We're getting into June, my birth month. And, okay, I'll leave the other one. Okay, let's welcome. It's time for trends. Let's begin with Martin Amidu because he's... in the trends this morning on Twitter, lots of people are commenting about his latest, where he said that there are some revelations about the ABBEY scandal and all of that. So people are saying, ABBEY. So if you said that you didn't want to talk about it earlier because of the elections were approaching, why now? Be like we get a few more months to the election, so why now? So let's take a look at some of the comments on X, especially people writing about this new development. This one says that, is this year equally not an election year? He simply double standard. That's from El Amun writing that on Twitter. This one says, you had information after the election, release it, and you sat on it to date. If he thinks this will affect the incoming election, it will not happen. That's from Dote Tete writing that and says that, and why is Amidu still in possession of government's documents when he is no longer in office? That's a question. And Freddie says that, they have to wait for election year when then they bring it back, but they will hide their own corruption and expose others. Such hypocrisy. That's Freddie the creator writing that. And this one says that withholding evidence is a crime, and as such, Martin Amidu and John Mahama must be arrested and prosecuted immediately. John Mahama must not be president, and this is not an excuse for Bawumia. They should all be jailed. That's another account writing that. So, Doc, the new Revy.
That's what?
And the old Revy.
That's what?
Oh, about the ABBEY scandal, from Martin.
That what? What did he say?
That, he had, some information that he did not talk about.
Which information?
About the ABBEY scandal.
He should put out information.
Oh. So if you get that, drop him.
Please.
Oh. Therefore, medical, if the information there, you drop him, make we see. So that we can take it from there and we'll see what happens. So that's also trending on Twitter. I woke up this morning, I saw that Elwes are trending on Twitter. So I go for a trendy and I'm going for a trendy on Twitter. I was like, what just happened? So I opened it and Doc. It was a lady who shared her experience that her parents said that they don't like Elwes. So she had to break off her relationship. And people started, commenting on it. And that's how it got into the trends. And people are talking about tribalism in 2024, why these things, happen. So that's it. My daddy hates Elwes, so I don't think we can continue this relationship. I'm sorry. So that was the response she gave to a gentleman. And this one says that, bro, it exists big time. My ex-girlfriend who is in Canada called me and told me that her mom says she doesn't like fancies, so she doesn't approve of the relationship. I didn't ask any questions. I left the relationship immediately. Hillary writes, and this one says, maybe her dad has had a rough experience with ours. Don't judge him. Lone Wolf writes in that on Twitter. This one says that your dad's hate for ours means nothing and absolutely nothing because God created all humans. He loves all his creations. God loves everything he created, and that should be the number one priority. And moving on, this one says that what have ours done to deserve all this? Some people don't even sell to us because we are ours. Some don't even talk to us. Very sad that some of that happens in this current generation. They buy into it. Look, that's a...
So are we in denial or what? I mean, these things have existed. They've been around even before I was born. They've been there. I think the thing about education and urbanization and all that has helped to,
tone it down a little bit.
Yes, it's helped to reduce it. I mean, people have had the opportunity of experiencing others. So some of those stereotypes and other things
will always be there in their minds.
Yeah, they've gone. Some of them on the basis of their experience. But let's not forget that this stereotyping and this issue about what people think about some particular tribes and others have never exist, don't exist. I mean, the reality is that they do exist. Sometimes people don't say them because of the potential backlash from others and others, but they act them out. All I'm saying is that, look, yes, it might not be as prevalent today as it were then because a lot of things have happened. I think that we know ourselves much better.
Yeah.
We've had the opportunity of mingling. You've known people, going to school with people, and you get to know them firsthand, who they are, the values that they have and others. And sometimes you place that against the stereotyping, and then you tell yourself that this cannot be true.
This cannot be true.
So there are many things that have happened that have tried to clear some of these things off. But make no mistake, it still exists. There are people who still do. They will not come out publicly to say it. But those things are with us. And it's important that we continue to look at how we can be able to erase those things. Yes. I mean, personally, I've had situations where people find out where I'm from, and they're like, really? And sometimes, so your dad is yes, and your mom is, then maybe you took this and you didn't take that. And I get offended when sometimes they say that. But I also begin to understand that it's something that perhaps is ingrained in them from when they were born.
Yeah.
So the best you can do is to let them understand the folly. And the danger in holding those mindsets. And also per your attitude and your relations with them to also use that.
To whether that will confirm really.
Yes. To do that. But I mean, those things, and sometimes we joke about them. People say that. Or born free, and we sometimes say those things jokingly. But it is the reality. It's just because somebody decided to write about hers. There are thousands who have not written. And that they keep suffering those things up to today.
Sorry.
And so we need to continue working. First of all, we must admit that they exist. And we need to be able to confront them and find out how we can confront them. And I say that the best really is about experience. If somebody says that, people who are from this part are this and that, are there many people from that part whose lives or whose attitudes or whose reputation defeats that kind of stereotyping? If that is it, that's what you need to use.
Then you also use that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you also need to use that as a way to.
We are pretentious people. We are pretentious people. There are many things that are in us. We believe them, we act them, but we don't have the confidence to say them.
To talk about to
say them.
Yeah, that one today.
There are people who will be against a decision, and you don't seem to understand why they are set against this particular thing. And you will think and
you just can't get a head and tail of why they just don't want this. The point is that they don't want it for this particular reason, but they are not confident enough
to state
the reason.
Because of course,
but they will act out their disapproval anyway.
Yeah, true, Charlie. Okay, so Doc, let me wrap up with a video that it's on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. I see it trending everywhere, but there's an explanation to it though. So it's a video of a couple who are coming in, and then a lady was, I don't know, was it between them, and people were saying a lot of things. But I've heard some explanations. But let's watch the video real quick. When we come back, we'll talk about it. All right, so that's a video that has been trending, and there's been some explanation to it. Look, imagine someone is coming with, a partner, and then this happens. But the explanation, as I've gathered a little bit from social media, is that the lady could be a relative of the man, and in the culture of our brothers and sisters, the lady would have to be compensated. So you see that in the video, a gentleman came trying to give her some money, but as an international man, some of the comments under the post everywhere there. Hey!
I think that the song that was being played also didn't help.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, see you.
Everlasting power.
But the lady was really calm about it, like the bride.
What would she do?
Maybe she understood the assignment at that point.
No, what was she going to do?
Oh, if it be somebody, I will charge you.
You saw the guy whisper to her. Maybe that's what calmed her.
Oh, okay, to calm her down. If you know be so, yeah.
But the lady also acted the thing well.
Yeah, when you be out, the point that they had to cut the song and say, go and say, I said, no.
Do they realize that you could have the guy's friends who perhaps didn't know about this tradition, who could have just come on the floor and assaulted
her, yeah. And that's how come a lot of comments on social media are like that, because we do understand this, as it's happening.
The lady was laughing. If this lady is not married, I pray that her marriage, she gets a double dose of this one.
There's somebody to take to her, man. But the guy to like for the money long time, because you knew that ABBEY community. Okay. I don't go agree. I don't go agree for anybody.
Which of the ladies here can play this role very well?
Nipana, that's some weird thing. Yeah, baby.
Who's the baby?
Manchester.
She can do
it. Yeah, she go feed do how. She go feed do how. Whether you put her, she won't go. She will be there. Okay. So we have a job for your baby to do.
Okay. And Jennifer.
Wait, Jennifer. Flo. She go feed do. So that's been trending on social. It's a point of education for all of us, Yeah. So
anyway,
that's it.
So let me just give you this information. Now, what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, as God the Mullah, God the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the Game Park Games app on Play Store. You can also play on the website at www.gameparkgames.com or by dialing *946#
on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Chalemi could play this game and make some mola. Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. Game Park games, more mola, more power. This game is regulated by a National Lottery Authority and is not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Ayesoko, that could more than be big, but Betway's cash will be bigger. Betway is giving you more control of every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. It's not for persons under 18. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It's indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go on, grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. Budget Cash and Carry Limited can be reached on 0208 128 190 055 001 0000. We need to go. Do you know Mandem Yopik?
Mandem Yopik, yeah. I've seen that gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a very good rapper.
Yes,
very good. Yes. I mean, if Doc is talking about you like that, means that
Mandem Yopik.
Mandem Yopik. Big shouts to you.
I spent this weekend listening to his music and watching his music a lot.
Got to bring him on a
He has some serious talent.
We've got to bring him on a team review. Yeah. I'll make sure of that.
You'll see him in the next 5 minutes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Then he's already here. Doc, tomorrow we'll give some announcements.
Tomorrow.
Announcement. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
That's it for the trips today.
Is it about Annie?
No. It's not about Annie.
Okay. All right.
Tomorrow people go here out.
All right. Okay. So we'll wait for your announcement tomorrow. Up next, Metro Sports.